All right, well, we wanted to take a quick look back this week at a story that we got into last week and was actually our Out There last week, which was all about Bernie Sanders taking his honeymoon in Moscow in the Soviet Union in 1988. And part of that was, he was sitting around this table drinking vodka with the KGB agents and these other useful idiots from the Burlington Town Council that went with them. They went over as VIP intellectual guests, and we shared with you an interview with a KGB defector, and that interview actually occurred 4 years before Bernie Sanders even went over to Soviet Union. But that defector explained the whole process that they went through to keep their alleged VIP intellectual guests liquored up the whole time and then use them for propaganda purposes. And boy, if you look at that video with Bernie Sanders with no shirt on, did you get a chance to go watch that?
Pat and I looked at it.
I mean, come on. Is that not disqualifying?
We do our homework.
Yeah.
Morgan, you tell us what to watch on what to go Google, and we do it.
Isn't that fascinating?
It was very fascinating.
It's absolutely disqualifying as far as I'm concerned. The man should not be in public office. But one of the things they did in the video is they sang that, or part of that terrible song, that Woody Guthrie song, This Land Is Your Land, and old Morgan spouted off, hey, that's a communist song. Well, I thought I should expound on that a little bit because I didn't get to explain what I meant. I mean, number one, Woody Guthrie's kind of a well-known communist from those days, and you're talking about back in the 1930s and 40s when there was a major communist infestation of our country and of our government. And folks, if you've heard, I'm sure you've heard about McCarthy, and you've always heard, oh, Red Scare, red baiting, he was terrible, blacklisting people. And the thing is, Joseph McCarthy was right. He was correct about the communist invasion of our government. Now, he's been blacklisted by history, and that's actually the name of a book that if you're interested in educating yourself about this, you should go out there and get and read. And it's by Stanton Evans called Blacklisted by History. And it basically goes through the fact that Joe McCarthy was actually 100% right about what he was railing against, the communist attempted takeover of our government. Another book you could read if you're interested in that time period is Whittaker Chambers' book, Witness, which is just an amazing book. Whittaker Chambers was one of the high-level communist agents operating in Washington, D.C., and was part of a spying ring that included a whole bunch of people, including State Department officials and others. And there were very famous trials about this stuff way back then as well. But unfortunately, a lot of this history has been forgotten, and we don't talk about it. And, of course, we've got our, Google, our nanny, Google, who kind of keeps track of what we're allowed to see and not allowed to see. And I'll tell you what, if you look up... They
came out with more of that this week, too.
Yeah.
They're doing it with all your Gmails, what you buy. They track all of that, even if you delete it.
Right. They track it, and they also... they keep you from getting to a certain amount of information. So, for example, if you're to type in lyrics, This Land Is Your Land, just directly into Google, you will not find this original verse that I'm about to tell you about. Okay? But this original verse clearly identifies this as a communist sympathizer song. Okay? The song was written in 1940, but it wasn't released until 51. And the verse that was originally written in it says, there was a big high wall there that tried to stop me. The sign was painted, said private property. But on the back side, it didn't say nothing. This sign was made for you and me. And that was in the original lyrics of Woody Guthrie's song. And if you don't believe me, Pat George, run him singing it, if you've got it.
Land was made for you and me. There was a big high wall there that tried to stop me. Sign was painted, said private property, but on the back side it didn't say nothing. This land was made for you and me.
So there you go. That's Woody Guthrie himself singing his original version, and we just pulled that one verse out of there because, folks, I think they might say, oh, you're making that up or something. No, we're not making that up. That was in the song originally. That's what the song's about. It's anti-private property. And he was a communist sympathizer or an actual communist. Back then, they'd call them fellow travelers if you're just a communist sympathizer. So I know he's been referred to as a fellow traveler, but likely he was also an actual Communist Party member. So in any event, we wanted to just share that with you just so you know that I'm not just making stuff up. I'm not just slinging around slanderous statements about people. If I say that's a communist song, that Morgan Streetman's got a reason for saying that. And it's worth, if you don't right off the bat agree with me, it's worth looking into it a little bit to try and figure out where I was coming from, because I'm not just trying to throw around a bunch of name calling and stuff that doesn't apply. But I thought it was important to let you know what the actual basis of that song was that they were singing there in Moscow, Russia in 1988.
Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.